I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 444th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Producer Kate is joining us down below, making sure everything works smooth in the duck. She's hitting the controls and doing all that stuff. Thank you to her. A big shout out to Producer Kate. Thank you for all of you that are tuning in live, watching us live from wherever you are. We appreciate it. We understand it takes quite a bit of your time, so we definitely appreciate you tuning in nightly and chatting with us. If you would, please smash that like button as you know you need to. That's all we ask of you. Smash the like button. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It costs you absolutely nothing. And it, just hit that subscription button, click the bell. That way you get notified when we go live or when we drop content. Obviously, we're live Sunday through Thursday, yada, yada, yada. Communicate with us or tell us you hate us or you love us or you agree or say something other than that over here if you're watching live. If you're watching via replay in the future, comment down here below. And so we know where we are in space and time. Live means right now it's 9:08 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. All right, folks. I've got a couple things that I want to run by you. Just right here at the beginning, I've got a couple of things that I feel like I need to just quickly get out there, and then I've got some real talk that I want to talk with you all about. So in sticking with the announcements that we're having quite a few announcements. Kind of odd, over the last several weeks, really the last several months, I've been telling you that right now is the time when you need to start getting involved. If you're going to run for office next year, you don't want to wait until January to decide that. You want to start planning that now. A couple people have really hit the ground running, and probably more so than I've ever seen before. The problem being is none of them are new faces. All of the people that are currently hitting the ground running right now are the kind of entrenched political folks that are in the system. They're already currently elected officials, and they're announcing they're running for other seats and all that stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about we want to kind of look at that and discuss that a little bit, because we'll kind of I'll keep you posted with what I mean about that here a little bit later in the show. Producer Kate's put up the information there below. If you want to follow us or whatever, you can find all of that stuff on social media. All of that's there. So we're going to talk about some more announcements that we've heard today. And we're going to talk about the Madison County EPA thing that occurred tonight. And then we're going to do the real talk. So the other day we did the show. It's been 4 or 5 shows ago where I talked about all of several of people that had filed or announced their intentions to seek office in 2026. And we've had a couple more people announce yesterday. Of course, I told you in episode 43, I told you that there was another deputy prosecutor, Zach Craig, that announced that he was going to run for Circuit Court 4. That's currently Judge John Fike's seat. Judge John Fike is apparently not seeking re-election, so it's going to be an open seat. And as of right now, it's only Zach Craig has announced he's currently the chief deputy prosecutor in the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office, and he's announced that he's going to be seeking that seat. And then today, this afternoon, at about 4:30 this afternoon, another announcement was made for another judge seat. And no, I can promise you I am not running. That is not something that you'll hear from me. Real quick, before we get into that, I want to ask, because my phone, so for my grandparents that are watching, I was talking to them on the phone before we went live, but my cell phone died, and it was right before going live, so I didn't have enough time to run downstairs and get it charged and plugged in or whatever. I want to make sure they were able to get on. I know she got on the TV, on her phone, but were you guys able to get it on the TV? If you can let me know. If you can let me know that you got it on the TV, that would be fantastic. Because my phone went dead and I was not able to help you with that. Sorry about that. So, okay. The announcement that was made at about 4:30 today is an announcement that I'm not particularly happy with. And we'll pull this up here right now and let you guys see this. You're not going to be able to see it as well because it's on Facebook. Oh, yep. All right, they're there. Okay, very good. Good to hear. Okay, so here, ladies and gentlemen, is the announcement, and this is Ben Freeman. For those of you that do not know Mr. Freeman is the county council attorney. He's the gentleman that oftentimes forgets his role, opens his mouth when he shouldn't. And I've been telling you that he's been getting a little big for his britches and he's been wanting to run. I'm really shocked that he's stepping up to run like this. He's going to be running. He's apparently announced that he's running for Circuit Court 5, Tom Cannon's seat. So Ben Freeman announced at 4:30, I am pleased to announce that I have filed paperwork to create the committee to elect Ben Freeman for judge. So it's not filing to run, it's filing to file to run. I mean, I think these people are really taking to heart the, don't wait until January. Normally you'd start planning, but they're really getting the jump on the ball. He goes on here and says, it's been a real privilege to live, work, and raise a family in Delaware County over the past 10 years. So he's not from here. Doesn't matter. You can be elected if you're new. That's fine, but just keep that in mind. The community is special, and its members have made me feel like home. Okay. This is why I'm seeking the Republican nomination for Judge of Delaware County Circuit Court 5. With focus, hard work, and a little luck, I will help maintain and improve the Delaware County as a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. I welcome your support. I also want to thank Scott Alexander, Stephen Brand, Eugene Whitehead, Brad Bookout, Dan Ridenauer, Tony Skinner, and Nate Sloan for their endorsement. More to follow. What's interesting there is we don't see an endorsement by Jessica Piper. I don't see, that's interesting. And it shows him here with Rick Spangler. And let's see here who liked this. Anybody special? Everybody, just any Republican period liked it, basically. Okay, cool. Let's see here what the comments say. Yeah, matter of fact, while we're here, I'll just go ahead and put meh. I'll just go ahead and put meh. How about that? That okay? We'll put that. I did share this earlier, and I put, I'm not real happy about this one. But it's not just him in the race. While I was looking at this, oh man, what a tool bag. This guy would absolutely be the absolute wrong person to give that kind of power to. He is really just a kind of smarmy little shitbag. I mean, I don't know if, could I make it any more clear? I am not a fan of Ben Freeman. So, man, that just almost makes me sick to my stomach thinking about it. And look, magically, this will fit in to the real talk here in a moment. Hello there, Brenda. Did you get a nap in earlier? Let's see here. Let me go back here. I want to make sure I find out where his. Wait a minute. Did he take that off after I saw it? I know I saw it. What? Oh, here we go. Ben Freeman for judge. Let's like this thing. So we see. And of course, everybody does the same old generic red and white, red, white and blue, white and blue, blue and red. I'd like to see somebody really go out there hardcore and do something different and do like a light black on black or something. Hey, look, David Hall has found his way back to troll a little bit. So here is this. Okay. So from here, we'll go to the other news. Hello, Stumblefoot. From there, we'll go into the other announcement today, which also came. Now, this actually came at 9 a.m. today, and I didn't receive it until later, but it actually came earlier than Mr. Freeman's. So, in the grand scheme of things, this guy announced it actually earlier. At least he announced it to me earlier. And I got to be honest, I don't know this individual. This says Master Commissioner Timothy Holmes to run for Circuit Court 5. We'll forget that there was a screw up there on the judge. Dear Mr. Bilbrey, I'm not going to put out his info. Good. Well, he's a candidate. It don't matter. It is what it is. Let's get this off the screen as soon as possible if we could. Oh, no, it's media release there. Okay. Timothy Holmes announces judicial campaign, experienced master commissioner to run for Circuit Court 5 judge, Muncie, Indiana. Timothy Holmes declares his candidacy for judge in Delaware County Circuit Court 5. He will seek the Republican nomination in the May 26th primary. Judicial Officer Holmes currently serves as a master commissioner for the Delaware County Circuit Courts. For the past 9 years, he has presided over hundreds of cases, ensuring timely justice for all involved. Holmes demonstrates a thoughtful, reasoned, and measured approach to the law. He is known for the respect and patience he pays to all who appear before him. Since I've been appointed Master Commissioner, I have always served in Circuit Court 5. I have always served in Circuit Court 5, I guess. I have immense respect for Judge Cannon and the way he runs his court. I believe there is no one more ready to step into Judge Cannon's shoes than me, Holmes explains. Prior to becoming Master Commissioner, Holmes served as an attorney for the Indiana Department of Child Services for over 10 years, helping to protect the most vulnerable in our population. In his nearly 30 years of law practice, Holmes has served in both private and public sectors, offering a breadth of experience in many areas of law. He is a 1997 graduate of the University of Wisconsin Law School. He graduated from the Indiana Judicial College in 2021. Holmes and his wife have been residents of Muncie since 2003. Also, someone not from here, which is not necessarily a problem, raising their 2 children in this community. So we now officially have a primary challenge for Circuit Court 5. Interesting. I'm going to tell you, between Freeman and Holmes, just based off of the understanding of knowing Freeman, right now the edge is given to Holmes. I will give the edge to Holman tonight to just because I don't specifically know him, and I do know Ben, and normally there are pros and cons, but there's nothing specifically in the pro column for Ben. I can tell you that. So there's a lot of time. I mean, we are exactly 12 months away. So it's not like we have to make a decision right now. As far as Circuit Court 5 goes, I don't know that this is the end of it. I think that there could be maybe at least one more Republican throwing their hat in the ring. I do not know of any Democrats currently that are looking to throw their hats in the ring for judge, either in Circuit 4 or 5. So that's where we stand. And we don't know if Zach will have a primary challenger in 5 or not, but we'll see. So that's where we stand right now. And I don't know much about Holmes, and honestly, I don't know much. I don't know much about Freeman other than his service in the council. And that's I don't know. So we will have to see there. Time will tell. So those are the other announcements that have come out since the show that I did last week, announcing the big string of candidates running. We've not had many more announcing. I'm in the process of getting together a list of anybody that's announced from the Henry County or Randolph County areas, I honestly don't think that there's been many announcements from there. And I think that Catherine is working on putting together a list of announcements from her area as well. So we'll have that when we get that. Okay. Moving on from there. I want to briefly, before we get into the big part of the show tonight, I do want to talk a little bit about the Holums. Is that what you're saying? What? Holums? Holums?
Short O sound. Holums.
How do you know that?
From a message that was sent to the political spotlight.
Okay. Holums?
Holums.
Holums.
Yes.
Okay.
Like calling them to prison. That's great, Karen.
Yes.
That needs to be a campaign slogan. That's awesome.
Yes. Karen, that's hilarious. Yeah. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. So Holums there is the name. So okay, well now we've got that. Hey, we've got another 12 months to get these people's names figured out. We'll hear these people's names a lot between now and the day that it'll truly matter. So we'll figure it out there. All right. So besides that, okay, now I want to kick into and talk with you all a little bit about what's going on with this EPA meeting that occurred over in Madison County. Tweety Bird. I like people that can carry over from night to night to night, so you get a special point for that. I can appreciate that. Okay, so let's now take a look here at they had the meeting over in Anderson tonight at 5:30, and it was live streamed. It is live streamed on Catherine's page. Catherine has shared it, and the meeting was about an hour and 30 minutes long. You know it, E-Jack. The meeting, I heard, basically devolved into a complete shit show. The EPA, so when Brianna and Nicole and those, I will call them community activists, started working to get this information out to the public and make notice of this and have people aware of what was going on. Brianna reached out to the EPA, or, well, she'll be on tomorrow, so we will have her we'll have her explain what's going on. But I don't know if she reached out to the EPA or they reached out to her, but Brianna and the EPA were in contact with one another. And Brianna explained to the EPA that she was going to put together a public meeting for the citizens. And the EPA said, great, we would love to come. And so they started getting all the stuff ready and getting things set. And then after a couple of weeks, before, like a week before the event, the EPA contacted Brianna and said, well, here's what we're going to do. We want you to hold your meeting, but we're now not going to come to your meeting, and we want to set up another meeting afterwards so we can really spread this out and hit the information hard. So they did some digging, and we started doing some digging, and what we found out was after the EPA was all gung-ho and ready to come and meet with Brianna and the public and do this, that the EPA got in contact with some of the elected officials in Madison County, or some of the elected officials in Madison County got in contact with the EPA. And so what happened was 2 weeks ago, when Brianna held her meeting, it was a fantastic meeting, and there were a lot of subjects that she covered on the Superfund site things. There were many citizens there. It was very well attended, and they had a pretty put together well meeting, but the EPA wasn't there. So tonight, the EPA came, and again, they had a pretty decent sized meeting, but this time some elected officials were there. And so it was interesting that the elected officials didn't care to come and listen when it was citizens talking. But then when the EPA came, the elected officials came to that meeting. So then some questions were asked, and I think the EPA kind of dodged some questions, and they weren't as honest as they should have been. And it kind of just all fell apart and, devolved into just a shit show. So I've talked to Brianna, and Brianna is going to come on tomorrow, and she is going to explain what happened at the meeting, and we're going to go through bits and pieces of the meeting. She recently was interviewed on a radio program in Anderson with Kevin Smith, the former mayor of Anderson. He has a radio program there, and one of his sidekicks interviewed her. And so we'll play parts of that. And then, of course, the main thing is we will hear from Brianna and listen to why she was upset with what happened at the meeting. And we will listen to all of that. Yes, Tweety Bird, there is a meeting. If you go to Catherine Callahan's page, she has a recording of the meeting up. So does Rebecca Crooms. And so, yeah, you can definitely go and see the meeting. And we're going to go through the meeting tomorrow. I'll show you just a quick snippet of it here.
If you have any issues with drinking water, any questions about drinking water, we do have folks here from Thornburg that you can talk to after the meeting, or you can reach out to them later this week. We also have other resources on the fact sheet, and this PowerPoint will be placed online, and you can refer to those to discuss any issues or questions that you have about the
Here's Brianna.
Government is corruption and lies.
But it's not in our drinking water.
No, like you guys are trying to just play joke. Mark my words. We are the next Flint, Michigan. You guys taking your time to do nothing is not going to help. And we're not going to stop until you change it.
Yeah, we're not waiting 4 years. So
We're not.
going to help you kick the can down the road. We know about it now.
Yeah, so,
I'm pretty sure federal
And if
stuff
you're
right
not
now
the
is
if you're not the water-
So, of course, they pulled one of the best bits out there where you have a situation like this when you have people saying, the water's clean, come on in. They basically pulled out the water and they poured it into the cup, and they did the whole drink it then. And of course, nobody from the EPA wanted to drink any of the water that was presented to them. So, listen, I'm not just going to be standing there and, if somebody poured me a glass of something to drink, I probably am not going to drink it either, no matter if it's clean or not. But, that's always kind of an interesting little bit to show that, yeah, they didn't want to drink the water, and I wouldn't either. That's why I do the bottled water, which, listen, probably is going to get me too. I'm sure there's some kind of something wrong with that as well, but it doesn't ever look brown. So it is what it is. But we'll have Brianna on tomorrow. That's Wednesday. If you want to listen to that, that will be a very interesting show. The last show that she did, we had her on about a month ago, was very well watched, and people loved that. It was a good, very informational episode. And so tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m. and we will listen. We'll listen to what she's got to say and hear what all's going wrong with the EPA and what's happening in Anderson, basically. So that'll be an interesting episode for 445. Okay. Now we want to get into what I would consider, what I consider the majority of the meat of the show, the real part, the real talk. And I don't have anything really written down to say it. Matter of fact, I didn't know we were going to talk about this until probably about 25 minutes ago, and I just said, screw it, let's do it. So that's that's what we're going to do. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to start here. I don't like feeling out of control. I don't like feeling like I'm not in control of a situation. And that doesn't mean that I have to know all of the answers or I have to be the one that's calling the shots. I just have to be in control of my sphere, my circle in a situation. I like to be educated about the topics that I'm talking about. And I don't like to feel like the whole concept of drinking water from a fire hose. I don't like that type of situation. And sometimes doing what I do, it sometimes feels very overwhelming. Like you can have times where you're overwhelmed by the amount of information that's coming in, the amount of stuff that you're handling, and it can be overwhelming at times. And I normally do pretty well at dealing with that. However, and I'll explain to you. So I've always been very political, for a very long time. And I've followed national politics and state politics and local politics. And for the longest time, what we've done here on the program has been covering local politics. And I've said, and I've talked to you guys about this frequently, that really I think in order to grow the channel, in order to grow bigger, I'm really at some point going to have to bite the bullet and possibly jump the shark, which is very, very possible, because it might be the point of no return. You might do it and might not be able to come back from it or whatever, who knows? And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But at some point, I'm probably going to have to dive more into national politics to grow the channel. I'm not there yet, and I'm fine. I feel like I still have a lot that I want to do here locally and still want to do in the state level. That being said, more than any time before, the last 2 years, I've really gotten involved in state level politics. I've started following the various 100 state representatives instead of just following J.D. Prescott or following Scott Alexander or Sue Arrington. I've really started paying attention in a larger scope to far more of the 100 representatives and the 50 senators. I've gotten involved with making sources in the governor's office and within state government at the state house, and so I really have started paying more attention to state government, and that's a good thing, because that also will open the floodgates and it will grow the channel. And it has. We've had more people from outside of East Central Indiana start watching. We've had more people from outside of East Central Indiana start communicating with us. And it's been a good thing. And I think that it will only get bigger. And my plan is, over the next month, definitely over the next month, but over the next 12 months, while we are starting to dive into this state level government, it will only grow more because it's only going to get bigger. Now, I see Tweety Bird say, ugh, because obviously her mind immediately goes to the national stuff. We're not there yet. Pump the brakes. I'm specifically right now speaking at a state level. We're going to have to grow at a state level. But I'm not giving up on following and talking about the local stuff, because a lot of what happens at the state level will definitely affect local level politics. And the thing is, I have, for the last maybe 2 weeks, really just felt overwhelmed. And it's been an overwhelming feeling because I'm just pissed off. Like, I'm not in a good mood. I haven't, meaning politically. Like, so here's the thing. I am able to compartmentalize very easily. I'm able to compartmentalize what goes on very easily. I can get on here and rant and rave and turn the show off and then immediately be in a good mood. And yeah, right there's Brandon Rudd. Well, and listen, I'm going to tell you, it's almost contagious, because Brandon's been like this for about the last, Brandon started this. This is Brandon's fault. He started this. In about over the last year, he's just been like really kind of almost to the point of like, to hell with it. Like, screw these people. It's not going to get better. But I understand that it's not going to get better if we just walk away. So I'm not somebody that will just walk away from it. We can't walk away from it. And that's not something that can happen. And to Brandon's credit, Brandon hasn't walked away. I know that you don't see him as often on here as we have in the past, but Brandon is still very much a part of the team. Brandon communicates with Kate and I and shares information and gives me a lot of really good ideas, rather. So I appreciate Brandon, and Brandon is welcome on here whenever he wants to come on, as long as he wants to come on, until Brandon says, hey, I'm not a part of this, and says that's up to Brandon. As far as I'm concerned, Brandon's a part of the team until he says, screw you guys, I'm out. But I respect my friendship with Brandon and how he adds and what he does and the back and forth that we have. So he helps out tremendously, even though you might not see him on here. Hello there, Warrior. So the thing is, I've really felt like really overwhelmed, and the part of the problem is wanting to be able to help everybody that reaches out. I really don't believe that any of you, like the only people that know how many people like truly contact, and to a certain extent, like Kate doesn't even understand this, because Kate knows the people that I tell her, or Kate knows the people that contact like the show Facebook page, or she knows the people that contact her that say, hey, could you have Chris contact me? Or she knows the people that email the show email, but she doesn't know how frequently my phone rings unless I'm around her or whatever. The people that know how frequently my phone rings and the people that are emailing me, you know, would be the people that are truly around me, like family, like my grandparents. You know, my phone is ringing off the hook, and it's people that are reaching out and saying, hey, will you help this? Will you do this? And a lot of it is stuff I've got to just turn down or not have anything to do with, you know, because it's things that are outside of my realm. It's things that I would love to help with, but it's just outside of what we can do because of you know, the constraints. But as far as politics and whatnot, I do believe that we can help there. And it's just getting people to know what needs to happen, and just a basic understandings of basic level civics of you know, who's in charge of what, and the things that we talk here, and keeping these people accountable, and making them know that they work for us, and that, you know, it's okay to have questions, and it's okay. You know, I don't know if David Hall's still here or not, but David Hall now apparently used to like the show, used to like us, until I started questioning John Sproles. But, you know, he's late to the party because I've been questioning Sproles for 3 years. So it's like all of a sudden he has a problem with that, because in his world, if you're a Republican, how dare you question other Republicans? We can only call out those smelly, awful demon Democrats. You know what I mean? Those are the people that are the problem. But then he's the same guy that opens his property taxes and he's like, what? This went up. The leftist people did this. And it's like, no, dumbass. That's your local and state Republican Party that did that to you. Okay. So and that's, listen, this is what a frustration is. The frustration is I open my Twitter and I see my state government officials talking to me and talking to all of you about how horrible the leftists are, while they themselves are screwing us with taxes, more and more and more and more taxes. It's absolutely insane. And it's overwhelming, because yes, there is a specific sector of the Democratic Party and the Democratic ideology that I will fight and I will stand against. But now it's like most of the people, they have it so easy because they're so close-minded. They're only fighting the other side. That's not me. I'm not fighting the other side. I'm fighting everybody. I'm fighting the other side. I'm fighting my side. I'm fighting the audience that doesn't like what I say if I say it about a Democrat. I'm fighting the audience that doesn't like what I say if I say it about a Republican. And it really gets tiring. It really gets, and so you get to a point where, like, man, none of this, it's not helping. None of this matter. None of this matter. You know, Rob Kendall made an amazing tweet, and I know that people fall all over the place on where they whether they like Rob or not, but Rob made a really good sense. And this, I read this right before I came on as well, and this is kind of like what tipped the barrel of me deciding to talk about this. Let me see where this was. Yeah, okay. Indiana Republicans called Kamala Harris a Marxist when she proposed tax credits on unrealized capital gains. Business as the usual when they do it, though. And that's the whole thing that's so flippin' frustrating, that Scott Alexander is going to run. Scott Alexander is going to run for re-election to the state Senate. And he's not going to have a challenger. He's not going to be challenged. More than likely, no one will challenge him, so he's going to have a walk-on part into re-election. Just straight. He doesn't have to do anything about it. And even if someone ran against him, they're not going to beat him, because everybody's so scatterbrained and everybody says, well, look, he's the guy that's been there forever. We best do what's right, and we better send him back, because, he can do it. And it's kind of like so frustrating that people see that, even though he is part of the problem. Now, I want you guys to hear this. I want you guys to hear a bit of this. Give me a second here. Let me pull this up. We're going to have this guy on here soon. I want you guys to hear this.
Hey, it's Big Joe for Absolute Comfort. Your trust
is in those houses. It's very difficult to
be with the state government.
Oh, this is a news flash?
I want you to listen to this.
It is
this is not new.
It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. And of course, we started out the show talking about that just disastrous informal survey Abdul put out, where basically the entire state of Indiana is telling the government, eat crap and die.
No kidding. When you look at nearly 1,000 people participating, and the majority of them saying that they're Republicans or conservative, that's how they identify. And they all said,
yeah,
well, yikes.
So we're problem solvers here in the Kendall and Casey show, and we said we've got to figure out a way to fix the state government. It's not enough to just complain; we have to provide solutions. And we, of course, we're flat out of answers, but we got a guy.
We tried.
We got a guy who's got an answer.
Right?
And in all seriousness, there are systemic issues, and we talk about this a lot on the show, with how the state government, how the General Assembly operates. Because if you look at that poll Abdul did, as unpopular as Braun is, the legislature was far more even unpopular than Braun was, and they deserve every bit of it. So let's figure out how to fix the Indiana General Assembly, shall we?
Okay.
Pleased to welcome our good friend, Dr. Dan Stock. He is, he's a national treasure. He's with the Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability. Dan Stock, hello.
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
All right. So you have been talking about this for quite a while. You say that we're not going to fix anything until we fix how the General Assembly operates. Tell.
Yeah, you got to understand how things work inside the General Assembly. Right now, you guys, we elect a senator or a representative. We give him our power so that he can go in and make laws. And he walks in and he gives it away for free. So they vote for these rules of the chamber that take away their ability to control the debate and propose laws, and they give it to the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem.
Okay, so let's stop there for a second with that, because this is super interesting, and this is why, Dan, you may have heard our show's number one, because we not only entertain but we educate, and this is really important what we're about to tell you, because we see this every year at the end of session. We saw it again, where there is mass chaos in the final days of the session, late into the night. All of these things that have gone through hearings for months die or go away. Things that never got hearings become law, like now the governor controls the board of trustees at IU. And you're saying this is because of how the rules are set up.
That's right. And this kind of sets up a psychosis that your legislator actually probably believes himself and wants you to believe as well.
Listen to
that
this.
He's powerless to do anything about these insane laws that get passed. Well, the only reason he's powerless is because he gave away the power. And he does that by voting for these rules that then he can actually hide behind the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem, so that when the lobbyists get their way, they can blame the leader of the chamber, and they look like they're blameless, and they can still get the campaign cash that's going to be donated to the Speaker and the President pro tem, to the funds that they control. And now they can get out of this conflict between the lobbyists and their constituents and look like they're clean, both in the minds of their constituents and in themselves.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second, because this is super interesting, and I got to admit, you've done a great job of educating me on this. So let's look at an example. Our old pal Prescott, JD Prescott, he comes out and goes, "I have a plan to get out of property taxes." He knows that bill is never going to get a hearing because of the way the rules are set up, yet he can come to us and our audience, lie is a strong word, mislead for a long time, going, I'm going to push this bill. I'm going to try to get this thing forward.
No, Rob, he lied. He is a lying, dog-face, bullshit liar. He is a liar. He might be a wonderful church-going man. He's a good friend to your buddy Micah. Might be a real good friend. Don't try to soften it up. He is a liar. Pure and simple. You know this. I don't understand, Rob, why you try to, soften it up and make it, like maybe you might let him back in. The dude's a liar. Which, by the way, I want to point out here, and I'm so glad that Rob came on today doing the right thing. So all of a sudden, after Rob was mad at Micah and Braun and all that last week, he wanted to all of a sudden, out of the blue, again, give them a moratorium and say, well, we're not gonna be mean to you, and we're gonna give you until Monday the 5th at 5 p.m. For you to look at this and you to come back to us and say you're willing to talk to us, and we're going to be nice to you. And guess what? Friday happened, or I don't know why I keep saying Friday. Monday happened. Monday at 5 p.m. happened. And Braun never said anything to Rob, never did anything that he wanted, and just said, screw you, we're going to do what we want to do, and walked right over Rob yet again. So now Rob is all pissed off at him again. I need Rob to stay Rob and be what he's good at being and be who he's good at. And I want to talk to you about this. What Rob is saying is good. You even heard Rob. Rob and Casey have the power of having the entire radio station at their beck and call. We're going to keep listening to this, Brandon. Keep listening. You hadn't heard what, Brandon? You hadn't heard that they were going to give them the benefit of the doubt, or you hadn't heard this. So we're going to keep listening to this. And okay, yeah. We're going to keep listening to this for a second, because the guy that's talking, his name is Dan Stock, Dr. Dan Stock. And I absolutely kicked myself. About a month or two ago, a listener, and I know this listener would not want me to out them, so I'm not going to out them, but a listener contacted me and asked me if I would be willing to have Dr. Stock on. And I said, yes, I would love to have Dr. Stock on. That would be fantastic. And things just happened, and we didn't make it happen. But and the only reason I say that is because we would have won up Kendall and Casey. We would have had him on first. But we will have him on. And the thing about us, and that's the thing that's better than, the Kendall and Casey thing, is they have to work around segments, and they only get him for, they only get to have him for, 10 minutes or 15 minutes at most, where we can have him for the entire hour, where we can have him for 2 hours or whatever, however long he's willing to give. And we can really get into it. So we're going to have this guy on, but I want to continue letting you hear this. But I don't like that when Rob tries to, soft hand it. Be yourself, be who you are, be what you're good at, and keep it honest, Rob. You know that JD's a liar, and that's all he's ever been. So we're going to continue on listening to this. Here we go.
but then he can hide behind the Speaker of the House, the heads of these committees, and go, well, I would have loved for that to have gone forward, but well, gosh darn it, they wouldn't even give it a hearing.
Well, and that's the thing that we need to push out to somebody like J.D. Prescott is, J.D., you did have a way out of this. You could have actually said, hey, we need to change these rules. The fact that we give all the power to see which bills are going to get heard and not heard to a single man who is terribly influenced by campaign cash being threatened all day long means that you've actually divided our legislature up so they can be conquered.
But it sounds like it wouldn't be in their best interest to change the rules. Like they don't want to do that.
Well, I think that a lot of them just have never thought of it. And I can tell you, when I've talked with a lot of these legislators, they get this glassy look in their eyes like, wait a minute, what? And we have to remember that these guys have only known this crony capitalist psychosis since the day they walked in the legislature. On orientation day, they get told about, hey, here's how you get things done. You go along, you do this. And their minds become locked into this like my dog who will bring me my leash so that I can take her for a walk, even though she can outrun me.
Dr. Dan Stock is our guest, and we're talking about how to actually reform the state government to stop this insanity that's producing this rage from the citizens. It's called Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability. So what should be done? What needs to be changed in order to stop this?
So we've got this on our website, and I would encourage everybody to go to fixmylegislature.com and read about the 4 changes in the rules we want done.
Fixmylegislature.com.
So basically, this is the one thing that your senator and representative can't shirk responsibility on, because the rules of the chamber are set by a simple majority vote of the chamber. He has as much power as the Speaker of the House, any committee chairman, to change those rules. So when he says I went along with this, he's completely responsible for that. And what we can do is go to them and say, look, this game only worked on the fact that we were naive. We're not naive anymore. We know that you have the ability to fix this by changing these rules. And it's in your best interest to do so, because we actually do think that the majority of legislators would love to serve their constituents. They just are afraid to stand up and say, hey, there is a fix to this. The lobbyists won't like it, but we have the ability to do this. And if they know we've got their back and that we're going to take their flank if they don't, then they can go in and change these rules. And now they can't be divided and conquered, because they're all going to have to vote on every bill on some way or another. They're going to be on record on what they supported and what they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's avoiding going on the record about what you supported and what you didn't that actually makes it so they can be conquered by the lobbyists.
Now, you talked to the governor about this, and you said it didn't go well.
Well, actually, it went great back in March of 2023 before he was running he had announced and was actually in the campaign. I sat down with him and another freedom advocate and said, hey, we think these rules are the primary problem in the chambers. And he said, oh, I support all of this.
Yeah.
Of course.
What happened?
Well, in October of 24, when he was running for governor, we met him at the Indy Defenders of Liberty, and he conveniently didn't remember any of that conversation.
Of course.
We said, well, okay, well, we're happy to sit down and go over it with you again. Where are you going to make a decision on this? And he said, well, after the election.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, then after the election, we started pestering. After all, you're a busy man. You got to reform a government that Governor Holcomb destroyed, we understand. But, we didn't seem to get anywhere except with one of his functionaries in his administration. Actually met with this functionary in his office and said, hey, we're trying to give Mr. Braun a way out of, becoming our champion here and still fulfilling his promises on property tax and all of that. We've got this solution. The functionary even said, boy, this is very well thought out. We'd never seen anything like this before. And then all of a sudden, yeah.
We've never seen anything well thought out before.
Well, then it's all going great until about 2 weeks before the property tax debacle comes down and communication stops.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got the silence too.
Yeah, well, I was promised, we're going to get you contacts of people who can help with this and all of that. And then the contact stopped. And finally, I get back to this functionary and said, hey, look, things are getting ugly here. If you really want this agenda to go through here, you're going to have to reform the legislature. You're going to get what lobbyists want. And we've got a solution. And is he going to endorse this or not? And I got about 4 equivocal answers of that. And I finally said, look, is Governor Braun going to endorse the CCA like Mecca Beckwith did early on in the campaign? And he finally said no.
Oh.
Yeah. And then,
Well, you went from ghosting to flat out no.
but yeah, pretty much.
It's sort of like my dating career
Mhm.
before I got married.
They try to blow you off long enough until you just won't stop, and then they give you a flat out no. So is it the governor who is the one who has the ability to change these rules?
Well, the governor doesn't have the ability to change these rules,
No.
but remember, these rules changes never get done because of naivete and ignorance. And he does have the ability to make this become something that everybody knows about. So, for instance, he has the ability to call a special session, and he can call a special session for nothing other than rules reform first and property tax second.
There you go.
And if he does that, now...
Or we, as the voting population, have the ability to hear this information and to explain to those people that are running, we want you to do this. Now, I would say it's already too late for JD, because JD has been a member of the House of Representatives for far too long. He's been there, the State House. He's been there since 2018, and he's never worked towards doing this. We can't now give him another 2 years and say, all right, we're going to elect you, and you better do this, because he'll say, okay. Then as soon as he does that, and he gets elected, he just won't do it. And then he'll worry about that in 2 more years. What we have to do is send his ass home to mom and dad and tell the person that we put in there, look, we're giving you this chance. You've got 2 years. Get it done. Get it done. Now, I am aware, this is all I can say. I'm aware that there are talks with someone to run against him, but I don't know that it's going to happen. I hope it happens. I'm not really sure. What we don't want to do is we don't want us. I mean, listen, I'm up for anybody running that wants to run. That's your American right. And I'm not trying to talk anybody out of running, but we want to try to be smart about this. Okay. We want to try to put someone in that has the shot of beating JD and that can do what they need to do. So we're not to the point of no return yet. I mean, we still have a while, but we're getting close to needing to know who's going to run, if anybody. The name of this group, I'll put this up here in a second. We've got just a few more minutes here. I normally don't like playing just straight out from Kendall and Casey or anybody, but this is a good part, and we're going to have Dr. Stock on. I've got his phone number. I'm going to get in touch with him, and we're going to make it work to get him on. And we're going to be on with him as long as he'll give us, because I think he has a lot of great information. But we'll finish out this segment. We've only got a few more minutes here. Here we go.
All of a sudden, this house of cards comes crashing down because they either have to sit down and say, boy, the governor told us to do rules reform, and we just completely didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now they've admitted to everybody that, hey, we maintained this problem. We were so scared of lobbyists that we ran away from them. And now we know we can go replace them with people who are less frightened.
Yeah, and it would get media coverage. That's the thing you're saying. It's the same thing we're saying with the property tax, which is, even if you fail, the light you would shine on the thing would do a lot of good long term.
Especially since, look, there's a lot of good legislators, or maybe they're just mediocre legislators, but they really doubt that the constituency understands this and is going to come to their aid. And if the governor takes the lead on this to educate people, along with the CCLA, that, look, there is a way to make it so our government actually is a representative Republican government, not a crony capitalist, facade, then we would actually have the support for our legislators so they could look at the lobbyists and say, hey, look, we're going to be more like Florida. All right. And that's where the governor, I think, is missing the opportunity. We would love him to be our hero. We would be more than happy for him to be the one who leads this charge.
Yes.
But right now, he either doesn't understand or doesn't have the courage or is a mustache twirling villain or some combination.
I love that.
Of the three.
Hey, by the way, I want to give you about a minute on this. You gave me a phrase. We're going to steal it. It's going to become an official phrase of the Kendall and Casey show.
Mustache twirling villain.
Well,
I like that one.
We were talking before we went on air here about what's going on, and you used the phrase psychosis of tyranny.
Psychosis
And
of tyranny.
I love that phrase.
the
And
phrase
it's
that
like in
Dr.
1
Stock
minute, if you could
uses.
explain what that is. So that way, when we use it going forward, I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, you have to understand that the human brain has a great ability to ignore information when it wants to. And if you practice this long enough, you get good at it.
This is like a real thing.
Yeah, it's physical. I can even tell you the circuitry if you want to get boring here for a while.
No,
Yeah,
Dan,
but let's not do
you're way
that.
too smart for this show. No,
Instead, let's just remember that to become a tyrant, the first thing you have to do is become so good at ignorance that you no longer can perceive your own limitations.
Ding,
And we got to
ding,
remember
ding.
there's a component of this when you've practiced working in Washington, D.C. And let's face it, Governor Braun just spent 6 years practicing the worst crony capitalist psychosis known to man.
Yeah.
That you come out and you're pretty sure you can sell all Hoosiers on your psychosis. And I can talk my way out of this mess I'm in.
Because real quick, Dan and I were talking about, it's amazing to me in this poll, this Indie Politics survey poll, whatever you want to call it, shows everybody's mad about one thing.
Right.
And we were saying it's amazing that there's this one thing that if he would just try to fix it, people would feel better about him. And yet he refuses not only to fix it, he's all in on.
He's bragging about
Which
it,
is
proud
property
and
taxes.
historic, and we hear about how wonderful it is.
And you say it's the psychosis of tyranny.
Well, like I say, he's like my dog. He's practiced bringing the leash over so we can take him for a walk so long, he just doesn't understand another way to take a walk. And so the lobbyists do this. And he said, okay, sure. I think
That's
I can sell Hoosiers
amazing.
on this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So in you think in Braun's mind, he has just been taught now, or taught himself, or whatever, to just say no matter what the issue is, I'll be able to talk people out of it or into it.
You know, this is the thing that makes
Yes.
you survive in a government.
It's
Other than
crazy
Mr.
to me that
Trump, who
Rob
doesn't
just
seem
now
so
is
good at
realizing
this
that.
as other people are. This is what allows you to become a useful ignoramus, is the term I like to use. And these guys who think they're moving up through government frequently think they're doing it because I've got great solutions and I'm a smart guy. And the reality is they're just usefully ignorant.
Yes.
Now they can be broken of that. And I can tell you,
And he's a medical doctor, so people can't say he's not really smart.
you know, there's 2 ways you can beat the other army. You know, you can kill all of their soldiers. That's a lot of mess. The other thing is you can get their soldiers rehabilitated and fighting for you. And that's what we'd really rather do. But, you know, that's a tough thing to do when you've got somebody who's like our legislators, like our governor, who has been practicing this kind of psychosis, that there's nothing I can do but what the lobbyists want. It's tough to get them broken of that.
Is this learned behavior or is it innate?
It's totally learned.
We can go ahead and kill that. That's that. So, listen. Here's the thing. We're gonna have this Dr. Stock on, and it's gonna be great. But listen to me. I disagree with that, Stumblefoot. I don't think that we need necessarily lobbyists. We don't need to kill lobbyists. We don't need to, meaning stop them from being able to do what they're doing. We don't have to stop them in any way. We just have to send people to the state house, people like David Williams. There are people out there, and it doesn't matter what the lobbyists are saying. It doesn't matter what the lobbyists are saying. They would just go and do what is right. There are people out there. We're just sending the wrong people. Listen to this. Listen to me here again. I don't mean kill. I mean stop. I want you again to listen to the, and I get this was unscientific, but Abdul will do a scientific survey. They're working on putting that together now. Listen to this again. 63%. 63% say that they think that the state is headed in the wrong direction. That is crazy. That's crazy to me. That is a lot. 70% disapprove of the job that the governor is doing. Again, that's a lot. For a state that's so red, we're so red. So many people are out there, rah, 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 go Trump, go Trump, go Trump. But they don't like Mike Braun. 70% are unhappy with Braun. Yeah, because of those damn Dems. 54% disapprove of the job that Micah Beckwith is doing. That's over 50%. Over 50% disapprove of what Beckwith is doing. 80% disapprove of Diego Morales and the job that he's doing. 38% disapprove of the job that Todd Rokita is doing. 81% disapprove of the job that the lawmakers, the J.D. Prescotts, the state Alexanders, 81% disagree with the job that these people are doing. 85% disapprove of the job that the lawmakers did regarding property tax. 57 blame property tax crisis on the state and local governments. 61 believe the property tax should be eliminated. 66 of the respondents believe the property taxes should be replaced with sales tax. 43% thought that local and county governments should look at consolidation. 55% believe that township governments should be eliminated. 70 thought that marijuana should be legalized. 53% disapproved of the job that their school board's doing. 75 supported school choice and universal vouchers, and 70 identified with Republican or conservative. So 70% of the people that answer these are Republicans or conservatives, and they still felt all that way. Oh, yeah. And so it's really crazy. So I'm going to reach out to Dr. Stock tomorrow and see about having him on. It'd probably be into next week. I just don't want to say like, oh, tomorrow we're gonna have Bree on. Bree will be on tomorrow, but I don't want to, say like, because we got to be around his schedule. He's a very busy man. For those of you that are interested in looking at his at the website, at the website they have, and going through that, it's definitely worth a look. And it's called fixmylegislature.com. Fixmylegislature.com. And I'll put this up here so you guys can see it. Yeah, they were registered voters who voted in this past November. I'll tell you what that is again here, because that is also important. Of the people that took that survey, 100% of those that took the survey were registered voters in the state of Indiana, and they voted in November 2024. 20% of those that took the survey lived in East Central Indiana. No, sorry. 72% lived in Central Indiana. Sorry. 72% lived in Central Indiana. 20% in Indianapolis. 36% in the donut counties around Indianapolis. 17% in the rest of Central Indiana. 14% lived in Northern Indiana, and 12% lived in Southern Indiana. So that's how that kind of broke down. And although it was not a scientific survey, they are working on putting a scientific poll together later this year. And I'm very, very, very interested in that. But to show you guys this website, here the website is, and there's a lot of good information on here that would be very valuable to look. They've got videos on here. You can click on and listen to videos of Dr. Stock giving his thoughts on various things. There's training videos, the Dr. Dan Stock presentation, video of Dr. Stock's keynote address to Evansville, Indiana in 2023 about the objectives of the CCLA. This is very interesting. And then know where your candidates stand. Look at this. So I guess Micah Beckwith stood with the CCLA. I don't know that he really acts like it. Donald Rainwater stood with him. Mike Braun will decide after the election. Jennifer McCormick did not respond. Let's see here. Did not respond. There were a whole, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously far more Indiana House candidates than that. I don't really know what the deal is here, but this is definitely interesting to see kind of who's here. I mean, I wish they would have, I don't know if there's more, if you can click on that, if it shows you more. I don't know if there's someplace else to click. I don't know. But that's interesting. And then, so it's just, it has all, if you're interested in donating, it shows you where you can donate. So definitely go here if this is something that you're interested in. We're going to have this guy on, and this is when he talked with Micah on Micah's podcast. So that was that. But yeah, we'll have him on and listen to what he's got to say there. I definitely agree with the need of fixing the rules of the Indiana General Assembly, because it's nonsensical the way that they have it set up and the wall of bullshit that they can hide behind. And then what it does is it's designed to break us down. It's designed to, and listen to me, I've been involved with this forever. I go through feeling like this periodically. Doesn't happen a lot, but it, maybe I wouldn't even say once a year, maybe once every couple of years, where after just a couple of years build up, it needs a place to vent. Like I said a couple episodes ago, I think I need a vacation. We'll talk about that coming up this maybe I'll take a vacation in July around my birthday. God willing, we'll see what goes on. Last time I did that, the house burnt down and everything went to hell, but we'll discuss it. But the thing is, what's realistic about this is they realistically have this put in place to break people down, to make people feel like we cannot overcome this. And I don't believe the thought is that, look, voting doesn't work. We can't change it. We've been voting. No, the problem is we're not voting the proper way. People are voting blindly. And I'm scared to death that this is just going to be another example of another time where 70% of the population is pissed off, but 20% of the population is going to go and vote. And of those 20%, no one's going to remember being pissed off, and everyone's going to go in there and vote for Prescott and Alexander and the same damn people. That's what I'm afraid of, because that's generally what happens. That's generally what happens. Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And first of all, I would say that voting's not even the start. I would say the start is getting people that are kind of reluctant to serve. If you've got somebody that's chomping at the bit, that's jumping up and down, that this has been their whole life dream is to be a state representative, I'm leery of those people, because they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there and to stay there. And I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. So first of all, we need to get the right people to start out. First of all, we need to be educated in what these people do. who we're sending to do what kind of a job. There are so many people out there that are just voting blindly and they don't even know what these people's jobs are. Piper's a great example of somebody that's like, settle down, dog. You're just, you're too hyper. Piper. So first of all, education has to be involved. And second of all, then we have to get the right people. Then we have to vote, and we have to vote intelligently. And then we have to keep these people accountable to the word that they gave us and to the job that we gave them. And we have to hold them accountable. We have to keep them transparent. We have to punish them when that's required. And the punishment needs to be for everybody out there that's parents or anybody that's been in the criminal justice system or psychology. The thing they always tell you is for punishment to work, it has to be swift. It has to be, it's on the tip of my tongue, frequent, but consistent. It has to be consistent and swift. You can't do that thing where you say, well, if you don't do this, we're not going to elect you. But then, they don't do it. And we get really mad at them like we are. And then they do something else. And we're like, all right, we've had it. We're not going to elect you. But then we elect them anyways. It's like telling your kids, like, don't, no more cookies. And if you get in there, I'm going to whip you. Don't make me whip you. I'm going to count to 3. And you're like, 1, 2, 2.5, and then you count to 3 and you're like, well, don't make, that doesn't work. We get somebody that we elect and they go in there and they do the wrong thing. Sorry about you. Thank you for your time. You tried, you're out in 2 years. That's the good thing about the state of representatives. 100 of these people we can change every 2 years. The other thing is, man, I am done. Until we fix shit here at the home, at the local level, at the state level, I'm done hearing about the national fight. And let the national people fight the national fight. I want our local elected officials, the public servants on the local level, to worry about the local level. I don't want to hear them talk about stuff at the state level or the federal level. I don't want to hear state officials worrying about what's happening in D.C. It's crazy to me. Again, I can get on Twitter and I can get on Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith's Twitter feed. He's the Lieutenant Governor, his official Lieutenant Governor page. And it's like it's just all national shit. I don't have any more interest to hear about national fights and what the left is doing out of my state lieutenant governor. Just not interested in that. So, that's where we are. I got kind of going down that rabbit hole a little bit. It's just, listen, like I know that everybody has the capability of being like depressed. I guess I'm a little depressed. I don't feel depressed, but I'm just like sick of the same bull crap happening. I'm sick of having the problem that we can't fix or it feels like we can't fix it. And I know that it can be fixed, but we just have to get organized. We have to stop playing their game, which is designed for us to lose. That is absolutely what it is. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Told you it was going to be a little bit shorter show. Brianna will be on with us tomorrow. That will be an interesting show. I will talk to Dr. Stock tomorrow and see when we can have him on. I'll keep you guys posted about that. Check out Need a Week in the Sunshine. You know, the problem is they blew my my good place off the map. Fort Myers Beach, they completely changed it, so I got to find a new place to go. Is the problem there? So we'll try to find someplace. But you guys take care. Have a great rest of your evening. Smash that like button if you haven't. Don't forget to do so before leaving. If you could do that, that would be great. Share the show with everyone you know. And we will see you back here at 9 p.m. tomorrow with Brianna. She'll be here. It'll be a good show. You guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. And God bless each and every one of you. Goodbye.